Alphabet Man, tearing down the strongholds, exposing the darkness, wrecking the enemy's plans. Endurance till the end. It's time for the Alphabet Man Live.
Bam! Man, I love that intro. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Matthew chapter 6. And I turned it the wrong way. Matthew chapter 6 in red letters. Let me ask you this. Do you have a secret life? Do you have a secret life that nobody else knows about? Verse 6, verse 5. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the street, that they may be seen by men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into the closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to the Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. But when you pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before you ask him. Do you have a secret life? We're going to win this war. Boots on the ground, on the street, in the halls of Congress, in front of the abortion clinics, wherever we need to go. David going for 3 days this weekend. But if we don't have a secret life, then we might as well not even go. We might as well not even go. So we're going to talk about that here in a minute. Guys, Occupy 2019 is coming up in April. I'm so excited about this conference. It's a little bit different than last year. So April 12th through the 14th, 2019, Canton, Ohio. There's some people coming out to this conference that have contacted me that never even heard of Coach Dave. And I'm like, man, I hope you bring a seatbelt. I really do. But this is going to be an amazing conference. Mark Trunk, Russ Dizdar, I'm going to be there. David Arthur, of course, Coach Dave, Chad Estes, am I saying that right? Dr. Mike Spalding, Mark Harrington. And I keep saying this, but I'm so glad Mark is coming out and doing these conferences. I think there's a lot of people that need to hear what he needs to say. He has a powerful ministry there in Columbus, but there are people in our circles that are not familiar with what he does. And Coach tries to bring him out and get him involved in training and stuff like that. So it's cool. But hey, does everybody know about this here? And I'm springing a bunch of stuff on Jared. There's not much time to get out to this, okay? We're talking next weekend, March 8th and 9th, 2019, Earnestly Contending for the Faith. It's the Wisconsin Christian News Ministry Expo and Conference. I'm going to be there. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to meeting some people that I haven't met before, okay? I'm not speaking, but Rob asked me to come up, that I could come up, and I'm going to have a booth there. And I'm going to be talking with people, praying with people. So looking forward to it. Bradley Dean, Pastor Dan Fisher, Dr. Mike Spalding again. Man, I get tired of these guys. Coach Dave Daubenmeier, and Mr. Doug Hagman, okay? So they're going to have some entertainment, some music and stuff and booths. It's going to be at the mall up there. So I'm excited. I'm taking my 12-year-old son with me. I'm always looking for an opportunity to take a little road trip with him. So I've never been to Wisconsin. I'm going to Iowa this year. I'm going to Wisconsin. I've been to a lot of states, but I'm going to mark a couple more off my list this year, guys. So anyway, I also want to mention, don't forget, guys, David is on a mission trip this weekend, and I forget where he told me he's going. He's going to North Carolina.
Hey, when you come to Iowa, you're in the center of God's country, just to let you know.
Okay. I can't wait. So David's going to Asheville, North Carolina for a few days. Yeah, 3-day outreach. And the idea for this came during the making of the film Fire and Brimstone. And we went to Atlantic City, we went to Philadelphia, and David just showed up. And just like he said, there were transgenders there on the street. He met them right where they lived. And guys, I think this part of the ministry, or this part of the film, Fire and Brimstone, is so powerful. And it was not planned. And you'll see this when you see the film, but I'm going to give you a little bit. I'm going to tell you a little bit of it right now. We're walking down the street. I'm filming David, and he's talking about how, man, the last time I walked these streets, this is the way I was, and this is what I'm doing, but now I'm saved. We turn the corner. Sitting on the steps is a transgender young man, a man dressed as a woman, and still filming. David goes up and says, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And begins to preach the gospel. But he does it in a loving way, and he does it in a way that the guy can relate with. Now, let me say this. Okay, good for you, David. You used to live that life, so you can reach people like that. We can all reach people like that. Okay, we can all. If the opportunity arrived, if we get in that situation, if we're boots on the ground with many people that listen to Coach Dave and David Arthur we can do it. And get a hold of some of David's books, and the film's going to be coming out. So that's a tool that we can put in people's hands. We could say, "Hey, this didn't happen to me, but I know a guy personally, that has been through this." So anyway, guys, I'm so excited about the film coming out, and I'm a little bit behind, but I'm way ahead. Does that make any sense? So I'm getting all of the fine details taken care of and making major changes. So, but we're over in the pre-sales. We're right around 60. So there's some left, but I want to say this, okay? This film, as far as I know right now, is not going to be available digitally. So my last 2 films were available on Vimeo, which where you can rent the film, for $6 and have it digitally for 3 days. That's good for people overseas because they don't want to pay the shipping. It costs $15 to send something to New Zealand or Australia, and also over in the UK. So a lot of people will do that, but this film, I think it's going to be censored before it even comes out, because I was talking to Rob up in Wisconsin, and he lost his Vimeo account because he posted some David Arthur stuff, and I had already thought that I might run into that. And I don't lose my Vimeo account because it's a platform for the other things that I'm doing. So right now, if you want to watch this film, you're either going to have to come to Iowa when we do our premiere out there. I've had other people that are wanting to do premieres. I've heard of one in California, but also, if you get the film, if you pre-order it now, the first 100 people to pre-order, I'm assuming I'm going to run out next week in Wisconsin, because I'm going to do up the last pre-orders up there in Wisconsin, and you get a free book, The Emperor's New Gender by Vicky Joy Anderson. So anyway, just a special promotion. We're not going to do it again, but also you get an extra copy of the movie to give away. And it's not going to be the full package, but it'll be the DVD in an envelope that you can give away. So anyway, guys, I want to kind of, for anybody that doesn't know me, I pop in here and help David out once in a while. And I have my own thing that I do, believe it or not. It's called Through the Black, and it's a ministry. This is how I met David. It's a ministry where we teach spiritual warfare. We do a lot of counseling. I've done so much counseling in this last week, and prayer and deliverance and that sort of thing. And I make films, and one of the things I expose in my films is satanic covens and Masons and all kinds of dark cults and stuff like that. We deal with that and help people out of the cults. But I actually got censored on my own channel, and they took away my ability to be able to go live. So I've been producing a series of videos and uploading them recently, and it's been an expose on Satanism and the rituals that have been going on right under our noses, that are hidden. So anyway, Jared, if you could bring up that link to that video that I showed you, and if you fast forward to the part that I'm talking, yeah, go through that part right there, and I believe it's about the 2-minute mark or something there. And we're gonna watch a few minutes of this, and I'm gonna make some comments. Okay, so go ahead, yeah, go ahead and play it from right there.
Glenn Hobbs was initiated into a satanic coven as a child by his grandfather and continued participating for many years. I recently asked Glenn about his involvement and the importance of Halloween to the occultist.
Well, my involvement in satanic worship was, I was involved in it as a child. Of course, I was a generational Satanist, what they call a generational Satanist, and what that means is that my family was involved in it and their family before them. Now, my earliest rememberings of
pause that for a
Halloween,
second right there, Jared. So I like this video because this guy right here, his name is Glenn Hobbs. I don't know where he's at today. This was made in the 80s, okay? Now, I originally saw this video when somebody gave me a VCR tape back in the 90s, okay? If anybody remembers what a VCR is, all right? That's how we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have Facebook. That's how we shared information, okay? So somebody gave me this. I saw this testimony. Yeah, there you go. There's a yeah, those are right there. Those are antiques now. Those are artifacts. So, man, I bet those things are expensive now. So anyway, somebody gave me a videotape with all of these testimonies of these people on there, and that guy was on there. So, but notice he makes a distinction of his family. His family was what was called a generational satanic family. Now, when people think of Satanists, they think of teenagers dressed in black, wearing makeup, listening to loud music, okay? That's true. And those guys are in trouble and they're in danger, and we try to reach them. And those guys are involved in some dark stuff, and they also, I can give you example after example and show you news articles where those guys will kill people, okay? But this guy right here is talking about Ezekiel 8 type of Satanism, okay? And he's laying it out back in the 80s, okay? And if you guys know who Russ Dizdar is, you know this is what he does. He's the guy that trained me. So anyway, I've been doing a series on this, and we're going to continue this here in a second, Jared, of just showing this evidence, okay? Because there's a movement out there that is denying that this is real and this happens, and they have that same spirit in them as the pro-choice, the pro-death movement has, is when they deny that the baby inside of the womb is a baby. You can show them all the scientific evidence. You can show them the proof and the testimonies and all of this stuff. No, it's not a baby. It's not a baby. And the same thing with, it's the same thing when people are saying, there is no boy or girl. It's gender fluid and all this stuff. So go ahead and play.
and some of the things that were involved it was a very dark time for me as a child. It was something that I didn't enjoy.
Glenn, could you tell us about your involvement in any rituals at Halloween as a child?
There was another little girl that was involved in the occult with me, and her name was Becky. Now, Becky was a different type of child. She was blessed to be a sacrifice. I was being blessed to be a high priest, where she was being blessed and born into the coven there to be a sacrifice. Now, we were in a ritual where we were married together. It was a marriage to the beast, and me and the little girl were married together.
So he talks about a ritual called marriage to the beast. I wish I had $1 every time I heard one of the people reach out to us and tell us that they've been involved in this ritual. He talks about his friend, who he calls Becky, was groomed to be a sacrifice. We have heard this over and over and over again. Many times, I mean, I'm obviously there's a lot of animal sacrifice, but a lot of times they will sacrifice babies, and but sometimes they will groom somebody and allow them to live, a somewhat normal life, minus, all the 6 satanic rituals they're involved in, and then kill them at a certain age, like 12 or 13 years old. And again, this is a testimony that we've heard over and over. I don't know this guy. How does he know? How does everybody know this stuff? And again, we hear this opposition that's saying this can't be real, this isn't real, this isn't happening. Where is the evidence? Where is the evidence? So go ahead, Jared.
And there was a lot of sexual abuse that took place, and a lot of blood that was spilt over us, joining us together.
When do Halloween rituals actually begin, and what is the ultimate purpose of Halloween?
Well, the ritual that I remember the most clearly began about the end of September. Me and the little girl, the one I mentioned named Becky, the abuse was very concentrated at that time. We were taken into several rooms where our clothing was removed. We spent the next couple of weeks in a kind of a shack where a lot of rituals went on, where a lot of animals were killed. They summoned Lucifer and his spirit to come and possess me, and so that I would be blessed to take over the position of the high priest at a certain point in time. Now, Halloween night, they had again put me and the little girl in the back of this van, and we again drove off, which seemed like for a long time. We were drugged once again, and we finally came to this stop. They took the little girl out and they left me in the van. I could hear a lot of commotion that was going on outside. People that were screaming and yelling, and this low murmuring and moaning noise that was going on, like some kind of a low chanting noise that was going on. So I knew in my mind there was some type of a ritual going on, because I'd heard that many times before. It was real common to see people fall on the ground and convulse and go into convulsions during rituals and stuff with the demonic presence that were around. And finally, a woman came to the back of the van and she said, "It's time to go." And she brought me out of the van, and I could see that there was just a lot of people around. Some were dressed in dark brownish kind of robes with hoods over them. They took me up and they led me up to this stone altar. And I remember I saw the little girl, and she was on the altar. Now at first, I just wondered what was going on, because you never knew. I mean, they used the altar for a lot of different things. They could have just been sacrificing an animal over, could have been a sexual abuse from the high priest onto her. It was a hard thing to know for sure. Well, they ushered me up to the altar, and I could see that they had bound her feet. They had her feet spread apart, her legs, and they had bound them to the ends of the altar, and they had taken her arms, which were laying out this way, and roped them to the altar, which had little kind of like hooks, which they could bind the ropes around. And she was really white. I remember seeing her, and she was just real pale and real white. And I noticed that they had slit the bottoms of her feet and her wrists, and they were taking the blood that was running out of those areas and putting them into chalices and passing those cups around to different people who were partaking of her blood. Then the high priest, he took the athame, or the ritual knife, and he picked it up and he put my hand on it, and then he forced it into her chest. So
Okay,
when I
that's
think
good,
back
Jared.
on Halloween,
That's good. So sorry, not sorry. Anybody remember the Podesta emails that came out about spirit cooking? Does anybody remember so many cases, so many things that we've heard? You know, this is what I challenge people to do. Type in your state, do a search, do an internet search, type in your state, and then type in satanic crime next to it. Type in something along those lines, and you're probably going to get a news article somewhere. If you dig deep enough, you can find this stuff, guys. It's out there. This is what I do, and I can tell you sincerely that I do not like doing it. I do not like doing it. I could give you a list of other things that I would rather do, but I don't know why. But for some reason, God chose me to do this, and I'm confident that He did. And I am on a mission to expose these cowards, these people who do what they do in the darkness of night, hidden somewhere in seclusion, whether it's in the woods or whether it's in a billion-dollar mansion somewhere. The testimonies of the people that are hurting, that need help, are overwhelmed with them. We cannot get to all of them. And they're all around the world. They're all around the world. I could tell you a story about somebody that contacted me from New Zealand 2 years ago. I'm in contact with people from Australia, from the UK, all over the United States, Canada. And of course, the film that I made, Detestable, covers just a few of these cases, okay? But when you hear this man, Glenn Hobbs, give this testimony and just explain the bloodletting and the blood drinking, I think that it can give us an idea why these people that we see with our eyes, okay, that have strategically been placed in political positions, why they are so callous, and why we saw a vote 2 days ago. Many of us are shocked. I would hope that at least half of America is shocked that there was nobody on the Democratic side to step up. Three of them. Excuse me, I stand corrected. 3 of them to step up and say that a baby born alive in a botched abortion has value. So when we watch TV, when we see talking heads, we see human beings, okay? But when you begin to study this stuff, and when you begin to understand the truth behind those that have political power, don't forget 1 John chapter 5, Satan is in control of the whole world. That's a political statement, okay? So, and I don't know, that's towards the end there. I don't know what that is, but yeah, since you brought it up, let's read it. Right towards the end. Show me out. Show me. Okay, there we go. I like reading the verses. So hold on, I got it here. I'll tell you if you don't find it. 5:19. And we know that we are of God, and that the whole world lieth in wickedness. Okay, so that is a political statement. Okay, and when you study the original language there, that's what was being talked about. So it should be no surprise to us that these guys are willing to kill a baby right up into the moment of birth and celebrate it. You know, I always say Satan's plan A was to kill Jesus, and that backfired on him big time. Plan B has been in work for 2,000 years. Okay, don't forget 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. A secret power of lawlessness is already at work. Okay, the enemy has been putting this plan into place for 2,000 years. I'm not a date setter. I am not a date setter, but I can say, hey, I want to live like today's the last day, and and Jesus come back tomorrow. And I'm not a pre-tribber, but it doesn't matter. I don't even care. I don't want to have that fight. But the secret power of lawlessness is already at work. Supernatural operative work. The enemy has been putting his soldiers and his people into place for 2,000 years. Okay. And he does it underneath. Look at Ezekiel chapter 8, and you can see the things that are done in darkness. Okay. God had to grab Ezekiel and take him and show him and say, hey, look what's going on. These people, the priests, are doing satanic rituals in the middle of the night, and they're doing sacrifices, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff in here. And he sent Ezekiel on a mission. He said, go in there and look. And he said, I'll show you. That's where the name of my film, Detestable, came from. I'll show you something even more detestable. So anyway, lost my train of thought. These are the things that are going on underground, underneath. We see what's happening above ground. And sometimes, like the Podesta leaks, I can't even, it's amazing that that would get out there, that would leak. But we see, and this is what I'm talking about at Occupy, we see the pedophile rings and the human trafficking. It's all connected. It's all connected. You have got to be turned over to the dark side to be able to go that far and to traffic in humans. We know what goes on the border, okay? This is bigger. This is the wall. We need a physical wall, but we need a spiritual wall. We need believers showing up on that border to pray and to push back what's going on down there, because these drug cartels are invoking demonic presence to be able to have invisibility, not physical invisibility, but to be able to do their drug trafficking and their human trafficking. So anyway, guys, I'm not a date setter. I don't know when anything's going to happen, but we have got to live, as though today is the last day. And we have got to teach our children, even if we don't see it. I don't know. I'm cool with living a long life and fighting the devil for as long as I can, but we're seeing a ramping up like we've never seen before. And I'm telling you what, these next 2 years up into this next election, and I don't want to make it political, but it is, because the reason that it is, and God's word is a political book, because he talks about politicians being involved in Satanism all through the book. Look at Pharaoh, look at Nebuchadnezzar, look at what's going on with Pilate and Herod, and the stuff that they were involved in, sexual perversion. Okay, I get my worldview from God's word, and he tells me the way politicians behave. Now, I'm not generalizing. Once in a while, we get somebody in there, okay, that flips things upside down. But what I'm saying is, we have got to fight this fight. This next 2 years is going to be crazy, and we cannot rest. We cannot rest. Jesus said, let the dead bury their own dead. Let the spiritually dead bury their own dead. We have got work to do. When Jesus sent out the 72, he's like, don't even grab a bag. Don't even grab your sandals. Go, 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 go. The urgency of preaching the gospel, that was written back, 2,000 years ago, the words of Jesus. He's like, go. He sent the 72. It's urgent. How much more urgent is it now? How much more urgent is it now? So, guys, I threw a ton of stuff at you. Thank you for tolerating me. But I just, I'm fired up. I'm ready to fight the devil. The devil's fighting me. I had to clear my house out this morning and push back the enemy in Jesus' name. And just get strong. Get strong. Do not neglect your devotion. Do not neglect your time with the Lord, your Bible reading time. Do you have a secret life? If you don't have a secret life, I would say, hey, don't even show up on the front line, because you're not going to have any power. What you do in secret, okay? Prayer is the real work. When we show up at the abortion clinic, that's just cleaning up, okay? And I'm not trying to diminish the work that we do at the abortion clinic. I'm not. It's important. But if you're not gonna intercede, if you're not gonna hit your knees in your prayer closet, you might not want to go. So, guys, thanks. Don't forget, support David Arthur in this mission this weekend. My website is throughtheblack.com. That's where you can find out about all stuff that we do and the films we make and all that stuff. So, guys, so love to David Arthur and love to you guys and appreciate you. God bless everybody.